How's it going, everyone? I'm joined here with Peter Jennings, aka CSU Ram 88, to break down the Tuesday, January 12th slate. We got a nice 8-game Tuesday slate, so pretty exciting stuff. How's it going, Pete?
It's going well, man. Happy to be doing a pod with you. Obviously, we go way back. Been friends since we were kindergarten, first grade. So you're the first person you introduced me to DFS too, which is crazy.
I know, man. It's been a long time for sure. I tried really hard to get rid of Brian for so long so we could do these, and I think what took him over the edge was I constantly recommended Jordan Hill as super sleepy tournament plays, and he was finally fed up. So here we are.
Perfect. Well, I'm all about Jordan Hill.
Right?
I'm all in.
Yeah, me
All
too.
in.
Every night. But cool. Well, let's jump into this slate real quick.
Yeah, so I'll introduce the game and give the line if the line's available, and then we'll go from there. So the first game we have is Phoenix at Indy, which could be a really fast-paced game here. Over/under is 204, especially if both teams go small. So news and notes and injuries, Jay.
Yeah, so injuries on the Sun side, we got Ronnie Price with a sprained toe. He's day-to-day. He missed last game, so we saw Booker get the start and play pretty big minutes. He played 37. And then other interesting news for the Suns is Alex Len has been ruled out with a hand injury. So we should see a pretty big bump for Chandler here and possibly Teletovic maybe playing some 5-2. On the Pacers side, we got no injuries. Monte Ellis sat out practice today, Monday. Kind of precautionary scheduled rest. So those are the only injuries. So I think this is a game where we're anticipating Phoenix to kind of go small. So do you think we'll see the Pacers small lineup finally again with CJ Miles trying to start at the 3 and Lavoy Allen returning to the bench?
I believe so. I mean, especially with Len being out, we'll see what the Suns tried out there. But I assume so. And even if it doesn't start out that way, I imagine that a lot of the game will go in that direction. And I think the line's kind of implying that too at 204. So big thing here, Pacers are 9.5-point favorites. The Suns organization and the Suns team right now is kind of in a state of turmoil. So definitely an interesting spot. But I think this game could really have a lot of fantasy goodness if it stays competitive, which I actually think it will.
Yeah, it has a chance. I think on the Sun side, I'm hoping Ronnie Price is out again so we can kind of get Booker locked into those big, heavy minutes there. And, this is a game where I think they're going to be leaning on him to kind of take a lot of shots for them, along with Knight, of course. But Booker's only 3,900 on FanDuel. You got to start 2 shooting guards. Are you looking at him at all in cash if Ronnie Price is out?
Absolutely. I've been playing Booker quite a bit recently. A little more expensive on DraftKings at 4,900, but youngest player in the NBA, I believe, and he's showing out. Definitely a lot of upside for someone like Devin Booker in one day, and he could turn into a pretty nice player for the Suns. So I think he's a great guy who's nice because he fills up the stat sheet quite well. And when he's gotten these big minutes, sometimes he's gotten like his most recent rebounding games. He got 10 boards versus Charlotte.
Yeah.
Right? Not expecting that, but
right.
Fill it up, assists, get steals,
He's a really good young player. I love him a lot. And then, I think you got to look at Brandon Knight in this game, of course, with that kind of high total here and him kind of being the main guy. And he's got a kind of soft price. He's only 6,800 on FanDuel compared to 7,300 on DraftKings. So given that the line isn't a double-digit line that we're kind of used to seeing the Suns kind of get crushed and because they're really horrible right now. So I think he's probably makes more of a tournament play for me. Just he's a little more volatile than for his price point. You can't really commit to him too much in cash, even though I do think it's cheap for some tournament option there.
Right. I like Brandon Knight quite a bit. I've been playing. He's been a staple in my cash games for a while now at a cheap price. Paul George I guess on the Sun side, that's probably it for me is Knight and Booker. And maybe if we get some clarity, how Big Ben and Lures play.
Right. What about Chandler? He's should be kind of locked into somewhat heavy minutes. He's 3,900 on FanDuel too. So that's
3,800 on Draft.
Yeah. So that's dirt cheap with Len out. And Indy has the size to kind of necessitate him.
He burned me so bad last year with that freaking respiratory infection.
Oh, Chandler's the worst.
I hate – he's one of the – and not that I'd ever let a grudge,
Right, but really, let's be real. Yeah, he's he's burned me so many times.
He's not going to grit it out for you in this spot. There's like no
Yeah,
way. I mean, he'll play, but like if you're counting on him to like just put in a ton of effort, and I don't know, I'm not trying
right.
to call him out, but like he definitely has, he's towards the end of his career, he has less incentive to play, and uh,
Right.
not
No,
Anthony Davis, but we've seen some stuff.
yeah, and we've got some good centers on this slate. I don't think you'll really need to take a risk at a 3900 center, but I think in tournaments it's an interesting strategy to kind of punt your center position with a guy whose backup is out and he could pick up additional minutes, and you can get some pretty creative lineups by spending at other positions. And then I think Teletovic maybe might work his way into some more minutes here in this game too with Len out. So those are pretty much the guys on the Suns that I'm considering.
Right. No, I think that makes a lot of sense. Pacers side, we got PG-13. I'm going to continue. I love Paul George. He hasn't been performing nearly as well. Obviously, had the big game with the overtime against Houston, but kind of been falling off that amazing start he had. But I'm a big fan of him, especially in this spot.
Right. Yeah. Suns have overall just been really bad defensively. And I know they have PJ Tucker who can work on slowing Paul George down. But yeah, I agree. I expect a pretty big game out of Paul George here. Definitely with this total and kind of playing a fast-paced Suns team that's weak overall defensively.
Right. I like him quite a bit. Who else do you like for the Pacers?
I think you can look at Monte for sure in more tournament formats. He's strung together some pretty decent games lately, and actually is kind of looking better. And I'm not too worried about the knee sitting out of practice, so I'm fully expecting him to play and everything. So I think tournament-wise, I think I kind of like having a piece of this Pacers team at home versus a bad Suns team. So I think you can look at him, and then I think you can kind of consider Mahimi in this spot for tournament upside there as well.
I agree with that completely. I think Mahimi is really, really, really interesting. He's a guy that definitely has some upside, and in this game with limited bigs for the Suns, and really not that Chandler used to be intimidating, but not at all anymore. So I think he's fine.
Right. And then the other guy I think we can consider in either format really is depending on the Pacers starting lineup. If they go back to small and we see CJ Miles sneak a spot start, I still think he's way too risky for cash, but I think he can open up some decent tournament consideration to kind of save money there at small forward.
Right. No, I agree with you completely. Any other final thoughts here for Phoenix Indy?
No, that's it. Let's move on.
All right. Well, we got Boston at New York. New York is actually a 2-point favorite here, 200 over under. Pretty interesting spot. What are the news and notes and injuries, Jay?
I don't see any injuries here. Both teams are pretty healthy right now, and we got the Celtics finally fully healthy. Avery Bradley's back, and those guys are. Avery played big minutes, 38 last game. So yeah, this is definitely going to be a really close game. The Knicks have looked good quite a bit this year. It's been pretty surprising.
Melo's playing awesome, and he's still super cheap. Let's start with the Knicks. I think Melo's a really good play overall tomorrow. I know he's going to have
with Jay Crowder.
But in his other game versus Miami, I mean, he went for 29 points, 29 real-life points.
Right.
Also had a variety of other stats. I think I'm just pulling it up here. He had 10 rebounds in that game, so he got the double-double, 2 assists. I mean, he's going to play a decent amount, and he's still going to get a lot of shots. I mean, yeah, it's not the ideal spot against Crowder, but Melo can score on anybody.
Yeah, definitely, and he is underpriced. He's 8,500 on DraftKings, so
consistently underpriced.
Definitely a good spot, and this is a really close game for them. At home too, and yeah, I like him here even with the kind of difficult matchup. I probably lean him more in tournaments, but he definitely makes for kind of one of my favorite sneaky tournament plays here. I think a lot of people kind of look at that matchup with Crowder and maybe overlook Melo's upside because he's been scoring, but he's been getting better shots. He's not looking to score as much. He's passing more. He has legit good assist upside. I love the pick and roll with him and Porzingis. I think they definitely should do that more.
Porzingis, that's the other guy. 41 fantasy points versus Boston last game.
Right. So
Porzingis coming back into form. I mean, 41 fantasy points in 28 minutes, mind you.
Right. Yeah. And he played 30 last game. So yeah, I expect around that.
He's been low 30s, sure, 5 games in a row or something like that with 30 minutes.
Definitely. So I think given all the options, he's 6,900 on DraftKings. So it's not great with kind of his volatility, but I love him for tournaments. Absolutely. I think he is.
Porzingis.
Yeah, huge upside here. I love having exposure to him when you see his putback dunks. There's no better feeling.
And his judge, you see him juggling the soccer, like the basketball,
Yeah,
like soccer ball. And the
yeah,
best part about that is when he grabs with his hand. It's like what a
yeah.
baseball would look like in my hand. Freaking
Right. The ball's like 8 feet away, and he just casually leans over and grabs it out of the midair. Off the,
snatches it like a baseball.
yeah, that was pretty cool. He's definitely athletic.
Yeah. Lopez is interesting too, but his price is really rising on DraftKings.
No, yeah,
Like the high threes, low fours. Now he's all the way up to 5,000, but I don't
right.
play him on DraftKings.
Yeah, we always kind of bring his name up on these pods as like a sneaky tournament play, and he always lets us down pretty cute. And then when we don't bring him up is when he kind of has like a big game. So I don't know. I guess it depends on if we want to play him or not. What we should do.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to play him on DraftKings.
Neither am I. So
take that for what it's worth.
Yeah. But yeah, no, he's an interesting play here as well, I think, and I think that's kind of they're pretty deep, the Knicks overall.
Right.
I don't see anyone else really doing too much here.
I'm not sure anyone else.
Flalo against Avery Bradley and Calderon. Yeah. So it's basically Melo and Porzingis and maybe a little bit of Lopez.
Right. Okay. Let's go to Boston, man.
Yeah. Who you like? So Isaiah had a massive game against the Grizzlies. He's kind of in a mini slump there. I don't know.
Yeah, good game versus the Knicks though last time. I think he's a great tournament play.
Yeah, I like him a lot in tournaments.
He's the definition of a tournament play. I mean,
right.
20, then 53, 25, 30, 45. I mean, if he gets hot from three-point land.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it comes down to, and him kind of penetrating. So I don't really like the overall matchup for him, all things considered, just with the Knicks defense in the interior, knowing Isaiah's going to drive. But yeah, he definitely has the upside there. And then really after that on this team now with kind of everyone healthy, it's the Knicks play really slow and they have a good overall defense. So I'm not really looking at anyone cash on this team.
No one for cash for me. I mean, Olynyk is fine for tournaments. I think Isaiah's really good tournament play. Evan Turner, I mean, I don't know. And with
right. Turner was kind of the guy for cash on this team, and Crowder when Avery was out. But now that he's back, you can kind of – I question kind of Crowder's upside in this game with I think he'll have to kind of focus more defensively, of course, in this one. So I don't expect a huge game out of him, enough to kind of warrant him in tournament consideration. And then you can't really go him in cash as is right now.
Right. Well, I don't think there's really too much more to discuss here. Let's go to San Antonio and Detroit, which is another just game I'm not going to talk too much about. I don't see a line for it right now. As we're recording this, the Spurs are playing Brooklyn, so something to keep in mind. But I don't play anyone ever versus the Spurs, and the only time I'm playing Spurs is if they sit a lot of guys. So,
right. Yeah, I see a line. I see a 194 total, Spurs minus 6.5.
Okay.
So I'm anticipating for sure, since the Spurs didn't sit anyone tonight, being Monday, that they're definitely going to possibly sit. I mean, I think Duncan and Parker are the two, maybe Manu, but he doesn't have as much in effect. But I could definitely see Parker and Duncan sitting this one out. Injuries real quick. So none for the Spurs, but obviously the back-to-back. Injuries for the Pistons. Marcus Morris has dealing with left knee tendonitis, but he is probable and expects to play in this one. So for the Spurs real quick, I'm going in, especially the night before, kind of researching this slate. I'm expecting them to sit Parker and or Duncan. So we could see, Patty Mills draw another spot start. We could see David West draw another spot start here. But more importantly, we talked about this off air a little bit. I'll bring it up. Pete and I came up with an idea where we each want to kind of call a certain shot of the night for a kind of a sneaky tournament play who can take you over the top. And we decided to name this the Swaggy P shot of the night. And I'm going to use mine. We each get one.
In this game, the Swaggy P shot of the night?
The Swaggy P shot of the night.
Is it Boban or something?
Yeah, I mean,
my
absolutely. I'm calling my shot of the night, Boban Marjanovic. I'm expecting Duncan to sit this one out, and I'm expecting Boban to feast, as he usually does. He's going to eat.
Oh, that's what the Swaggy P is going to be. It's going to be something on the Boban level.
I mean, no. It can be anyone. This is just mine for tonight.
All right.
I really want to see Boban against Andre Drummond and just make Drummond look like a little boy, like Steve Blake trying to play center. Did you see Boban eat Tibor Pleiss the other night on that rebound? He just like casually he didn't even
I did
dunk.
not see that. I need to see that.
I'll send you the vine. Tibor is huge. He's 7'1", and Boban just like casually reached over the top of him and put it back with getting an inch off the ground. It was I think that's why Gobert came back, because Boban just ate Tibor.
Oh my
Gobert
god!
is like, that's it. You're gone. So
Boban, dude,
right,
such
and
a beast.
so that's my call of the night. And outside of that, yeah, I mean, if the Spurs don't rest anyone, are you looking at anyone really here? I mean, this is the night before, but a 6.5-point spread is kind of crazy.
I'm not looking at anyone here. I just stone cold rule with Detroit or with teams against San Antonio. Not playing them.
Well, even on the Spurs side.
I mean, Kawhi. Everyone's on a back-to-back. I want some
Right.
clarity before I start giving advice. I want to see what.
For sure.
Do.
I think a guy you can realistically look at. I mean, Boban is realistically. But is Aldridge if Duncan and Parker. We've seen him kind of flash.
He's up to a hot start tonight too, as we're recording.
I saw that. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I expect. What is the score? So they were just up like 5, and now they're up 20.
Yeah.
They're crazy. So they get rest every night because they blow everyone out.
It's true. This is actually correct.
Yeah, I still think that Pop will sit someone in this game, but yeah, we'll definitely have to kind of wait. So I think the options are if no one sits, the only guy you can really go in any format is Kawhi usually, and if Duncan and Parker sit, you can maybe go some Aldridge in cash if he's cheap enough, but really he's not lately. So I think that's when you kind of get to that sneaky tournament play with Boban.
Okay, I like it. I dig that. The Boban swaggy P shot of the night.
Right. And then yeah, I'm completely with you on the Pistons side. Never really played anyone against the Spurs ever in any format. We've seen Reggie Jackson. He's averaged 29.5 minutes per game since Brandon Jennings has returned in the last 6 games. So he doesn't really offer that upside that we like from him, and certainly not enough to consider in tournaments with this matchup. So I think the only guy I even consider, if you're assuming this game will be close, I kind of think Andre Drummond could have a big game here.
Yeah, he could. He's a tournament play, but again,
small exposure.
I'm never doing it. I'm just
hard rule.
Well, yeah, just a rule.
It's the best defense we've seen in a long time. So yeah,
Popovich is the GOAT. Just can't.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. All right, let's move on to the next game.
Yeah, Chicago, Milwaukee here. Obviously, the Bulls playing tonight, so we'll see what happens with this game. But right now, I'm not showing the line. Are you showing the line?
Yeah, I'm seeing the Bulls -3.5 and a total of 202. So definitely really high scoring and really close. Yeah.
202.
So yeah, real quick, I'll get it. So Joakim Noah returned tonight, Monday, from a shoulder injury, and they said he'd have no restrictions, but they'll be really cautious. So if something flares up, obviously they'll be quick to kind of pull him and not risk anything. Because that game, how many minutes did he play at half? No. Okay, so he played 10 minutes at half, so that's kind of what I expect. But the starters are all playing huge minutes. Derrick Rose, 19 minutes at half. So we saw Fred Hoiberg kind of bring this up so the Bulls they're obviously on back-to-back Tuesday, but they play 4 games in 5 nights. So Hoiberg kind of mentioned that there's been talk of giving a veteran a night off during this week of 4 games in 5 nights. So that would presumably be Powell or Derrick Rose, who's sadly a vet based on his kind of injury history. So we'll kind of see how that goes. They play Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Thursday is versus Philly. So kind of looking ahead, you think that's probably the game.
I think they're gonna play everyone in this game.
Yeah.
Out of all the games, I mean, I know it's
right
still, and they have to go to Milwaukee, but it's not too far. I don't know.
Right. And
is it in Chicago tonight?
Yeah, it is.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
And they're getting kind of killed right now. But so yeah, I think it's something to keep an eye on. Obviously, follow our Twitter feed, and we'll let you guys know if Hoiberg is seriously considering resting anyone for Tuesday. And if not, you can probably expect that on Thursday with the 4 games in 5 nights. Either way, Hoiberg said he'd like to see Jimmy Butler play 38 minutes a game this whole season, so he's right there. So I wouldn't worry about his minutes during this stretch at all. When I first saw it, I was like, wow, 38, like that's a ton, to give a guy. But then that's like 10 less than what Tibbs was giving him last year. So Butler's probably loving it.
Right. I mean, Butler, he's been playing unbelievable overall. I think he's a fine play in this. Do you think Middleton's going to match up on him? Is that what you think?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, definitely.
He went for 53 fantasy points last time versus them, but was that the crazy game? Which one was the massive? I think was that the Knicks or was that Milwaukee? I'm pretty sure it was Milwaukee.
When Derrick Rose was out?
He played Milwaukee one time this year. I'm just looking at the splits on DraftKings, and he put up 53 fantasy points.
Okay, yeah. No, yeah. That wasn't the insane game when he scored.
Was that I'm talking about the overtimes. Which game was all the overtimes?
That was I think that was a while ago.
Okay, all right. So I like Butler. I'm interested to see how the Wings play out. Michael Carter-Williams I guess we can talk about the Bucks a little bit. We'll stay on the Bulls, but Michael Carter-Williams, I'm curious to see who he matches up with. If Rose obviously plays, that'll be the matchup. In addition to that, with the Bulls, I mean, Powell should have a really good game in this spot, but on a back, it's a little tougher.
Right, definitely with Powell especially, and with Noah back. So Noah's return the front court gains an extra body there, and Hoiberg said he'd keep Portis in the rotation. So we're looking at kind of decreased minutes for kind of all around, Taj a little bit decreased. I don't think they have the need to kind of run Powell out there for huge minutes anymore. So either way, whether these guys sit or not, it is a back-to-back. So I kind of wouldn't expect Powell to kind of go heavy minutes here. The guy I definitely like the most is Butler. He's just been on a tear, and his price, he's 8,400 on DK. So that's not it's not unplayable at all by any means. And it's a really close game. We know he's going big minutes. So he's the safest kind of guy that I would lean towards in cash to get a piece of this high total on the road here.
Right, I agree with that. At Rose 6,100, there's way better options at point guard, especially back to back.
Yeah,
moving to Milwaukee. I wanted to talk about Michael Carter-Williams here. I mean, the bounce back spot blew it against the Knicks, depending on all the injury stuff. I mean,
so injuries, Bayless with his ankle injury, no timetable to return, so I think we can assume he's out for this one. And then OJ Mayo has a sore left hamstring, the same hamstring that held him out the first 11 games of the season. So I'd be surprised to see him suit up in this one as well. So we're looking kind of at the same situation as last game where Bayless is out and Mayo, who's the backup point guard, usually is going to be out. And it was weird last game because we only saw Michael Carter-Williams play 22 minutes with these guys out, which is super tilting. But the process is still there. I expect Michael Carter-Williams to play pretty heavy minutes. We saw Tyler Ennis play 16 minutes, join the rotation again. Rashad Vaughn played 29 minutes. The game was kind of out of hand for the most part, kind of a blowout. So I wasn't too surprised to see MC Dub kind of sit that whole fourth quarter. So with this close spread, I'm not really expecting MC Dub to only go 22 minutes here.
Yeah, I'm not going to play Middleton either in this spot. I like Middleton.
Tough spot for Middleton for sure.
He did go off. I'm feeling like this had to have been an overtime game. He had 45 fantasy points. Just go through. If you just look through this game.
Right. Yeah. He was 5 of 10 from 3.
It has to be that thing. Antetokounmpo, 40 fantasy points.
Here, you keep talking. I'll look it up.
Yeah, figure this out because all these guys.
It wasn't. It was just the final score was 117, 106.
Powell, 55 fantasy points versus Milwaukee.
Yeah, I mean, this was a huge
everyone
game.
Went ham, dude.
Yeah, they really did. Middleton, Michael Carter-Williams, Monroe double-doubled. Powell, Butler.
Yeah.
And Taj even had this was the game Taj had 6 blocks.
6 blocks for Taj.
I think I had him in cash this night. Yeah, all right. It's coming back now.
All right. I like it.
Yeah. So huge game. So, it's interesting. I think this high total is it's something good to look at. This is in Milwaukee too. So kind of getting the Bulls on back to back here, I think, with these guys
This game was somewhat when did this game happen, Jay?
This was January 5th.
Yeah, this just happened.
Last week, yeah.
I'm such a donkey. Milwaukee. And I like stack the game too, so I'm
Yeah, and it's hard to remember sometimes. All these
oh, the
games.
DFS blur coming
Yeah,
together
it's
here.
nonstop every night. Some nights just can't are forgettable.
Yeah,
But
well,
yeah, I think MC Dub is in an interesting spot. If Mayo and Bayless are both ruled out, I kind of like him in this game.
I'm
And
not on Monroe. I don't think I'm really on anyone else from Milwaukee outside of MC.
yeah, you could see some Monroe tournament exposure. Just kind of getting that Bulls front court who's hasn't been as strong defensively this year, of course. So I think you can look at him in tournaments. And Middleton, obviously a tough matchup. He did go off last game, but yeah, it's something I'm not expecting to happen again.
Right. So I guess one real quick thing before we move to the next game. How often do you stack games in tournaments? Because, if you stacked this game last time, you'd have crushed.
Right. Yeah, you would have destroyed. I mean, I think it depends how many lineups you're making. So kind of overall how much exposure you want to have. Kind of what tournament you're playing. If you're playing like imagine stacking this in the 300 or something. Like
Hmm.
you have a much better chance of winning if you stack a 117, 106 game where you have 4 to 5 guys crush than like the sharpshooter, the $3 one where stacking might not be the best way because a lot of people do stack every game, really. So it depends if you kind of want to get that first place or kind of have a high finish, but not necessarily first because you'll also have other guys stacking here.
Right.
And
Okay.
especially based on last game, I think you will have a few more people kind of look at this and say, okay, let's load up like last game.
Right. That makes sense. Let's go to Houston and Memphis, Jay. News and notes, injuries.
So Rockets side, we got Ty Lawson is still suspended. This is his third and final game of his suspension. Hopefully he can stop getting DUIs. Would definitely be nice there. So
Seems unlikely. I see the lines -1 for Memphis. I don't see a total in a couple places.
yeah, I don't see the total. I think that's due to Conley being questionable. So I'll do the Memphis injuries real quick. So we got Mike Conley is questionable with a sore left Achilles. Courtney Lee was out, and he is off the injury list, so he will play in this game and will probably be the backup point guard if Conley is out. Matt Barnes was added to the injury list. He's probable to play with a left thumb or a right thumb contusion. So we'll assume he plays, and then so with Courtney Lee back, I'm assuming kind of that they'll kind of keep their starting lineup. Whether it's Conley or Chalmers, depending on Conley's status. And I think they'll continue starting Tony Allen at the 2 to match up with Harden, obviously. And then I think we'll see Barnes, Green, and Gasol rounded out. So I'm expecting Lee to come off the bench. What do you think?
Definitely could be. I expect, depending on who's in, who's out. I mean, I think if Conley's out, they'll probably do Chalmers in a similar lineup. Like
Right.
you said. I mean, they might have to consider Zebo again. Zebo has just
I
gone.
know, but he's looking. Yeah, he's looking great off the bench. Yeah.
Get him in there. Get him a bunch of shots.
Give him a bunch of minutes, and let him put the shots up. This team already is hesitant, kind of taking shots. So him off the bench, kind of just firing up shots in the second unit. I love it, and yeah, he definitely makes for a great play here. He played 38 minutes last game off the bench. 20, 25, and 13. Yeah, so.
Chalmers price way up now on DraftKings.
What's he at?
5,900.
Ooh, yeah. So, yeah, he's 5K on FanDuel. So if Conley's out, I think you still. I mean, what do you think? You still kind of have to go Chalmers. So
on FanDuel, yeah.
Courtney Lee's back, and he can definitely play some point. So it's not like Chalmers will be super locked into massive minutes, but I still like him. Yeah, if Conley's out, I definitely like Chalmers on FanDuel.
Right. No, I think that makes a lot of sense.
And then, definitely Zebo, I think, for what's his price on FanDuel is 6,800. So it's not bad with the production of him lately. And I know we don't have a total for this, but I guess it's probably pretty high.
Yeah, I mean, Houston can't play defense. So
right. So
it's helpful in that regard.
Right. Yeah, so I think Chalmers for sure, a cash game play if Conley's out. More so on FanDuel for sure. And then Zebo, I think, makes for a great tournament play here. Anyone else you're kind of looking at on the Memphis side? I mean, Tony Allen's had some pretty big lines lately. I know
he does have some lines. It's just like watching him. It's just so scary. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't think I'll
Courtney
consider
Lee
him.
back, I just
Right. I don't think I'll go him in cash for sure. I don't think. And
I don't think I'll have exposure to him at all.
Jeff Green's been pretty bad. Even Marcus Sol's been kind of inconsistent as of late. So I
Is
think
Dwight's probably going to play, right?
yeah. So let's go to the Rockets now. Yeah. So Dwight played 43 minutes the other night, which was awesome. Like finally, so season high, of course, for him in that overtime game. And he's been looking really good lately.
Yeah.
So
I don't
obviously,
want the matchup. That's the problem.
right? Yeah, it's tough. Very tough spot to kind of choose whether to go him in tournaments or even cash. I don't think he'll have any problems rebounding in this game. It's kind of just more him scoring in the post against Gasol. Bickerstaff said that Dwight went through practice Monday and looked great. So we're fully expecting him to play in this one, even after going 43 minutes in his last game.
Right. Okay. Well, let's see what happens. I mean, I like him.
Right.
I like Harden. I mean, I don't love Dwight. I like Harden, though, pretty much any night, even with Tony Allen and whatever else he's going to face. But I think Harden has a lead upside in tournaments every single night. And in this matchup, he might not be as heavily owned as normal. So I think there's merit there. Beverly started off the other games super hot, and then he kind of cooled down. But still
for
solid.
sure.
35 fantasy points, 36 on DraftKings is nice. I mean, overtime, too. But
Right. No, yeah, definitely big there. And Ty Lawson's still out one more game. So if you want Beverly exposure, it's kind of one of the last games to have a good enough reason for it with Lawson still out. Ariza, I think, even makes for a small tournament play, just kind of predicting kind of a high-scoring game here. If you want to go that route, I wouldn't have too many shares with him. Harden, yeah, you have Tony Allen on him, but he's had big games against Memphis, obviously. But yeah, he's not a guy I'm looking to target in cash at all. And then who's the other guy? Dwight's price on DK is 7,300. So I love him as a tournament play there. They're definitely feeding Dwight more. You can see it kind of in their team play. They're playing better. Dwight's numbers are better. Dwight looks better. And he's finally getting touches in the post. So I like his upside here still with rebounding, getting that double-double bonus on DK. And I think he's 1,000 cheaper than on FanDuel,
right.
900. So I think if you're going to go him and want some exposure to him at a pretty cheap price of 7,300, I think he's also very safe because his rebounding, will give you double-digit rebounds for sure.
Right. No, there's definitely merit to that. And he's definitely going to get some time in the court. And with this matchup, he should be out there. So I like that quite a bit. I think that the cash game guys are what we mentioned. I think the fantasy goodness kind of comes in these last three games. So let's dive into Oklahoma City.
Definitely.
Oklahoma City, Minnesota. Looks like Oklahoma City's minus 11, and it's a 210 over-under. So a ton of points. Westbrook, Durant.
Yeah. Yeah, no injuries either on either side.
Could be a canter game and a blowout, too. This is a classic.
Right? Yeah, canter. Yeah, OKC. I mean, the Wolves have lost 10 of their last 11. So they're not looking so great lately.
What if the Wolves got Simmons, dude?
I mean,
all the number one picks.
Yeah, then
Wiggins, Towns.
Sam Mitchell would play Simmons like 12 minutes a game probably.
Oh, that'd be tilting.
Yeah, it's bad. I don't want him to go to the Wolves.
All right.
I mean, I do actually because I love this team, but
I like this team.
I like these young guys. So yeah, I think that'd be pretty crazy actually.
All right. Okay. Well, let's talk some plays here. You want to start in Minnesota or Oklahoma City?
We can start in Oklahoma City. I mean, I think it's really the two main guys you'd consider in cash, but are you considering Westbrook and Durant in cash, kind of with this big spread?
I mean, I'm always considering them.
Yeah, right.
But Durant at 9,800, I'll definitely be considering. Just too cheap on DraftKings relatively. Like the threes. Westbrook has just been unbelievable. So they're always in consideration, and I'm definitely always looking at them. It just depends on how roster construction shakes out. Ideal matchup, too. I mean, with the pace, just a matter of it will stay close. And the one thing I like is that it's in Minnesota. Mm-hmm. It's not like – I mean, Minnesota has talent, too. I mean, they could –
Yeah, right. No, yeah, I think Durant's the guy. Yeah, 9,800 on DK. I think you got to take a hard look there, just given the –
Oklahoma City kept it close with the Lakers, too, for a bit.
Right. No, they definitely did. And that kind of illustrates our point of kind of – it depends kind of how big that spread is or what chance you want to take fading Durant at 9,800.
Right.
Obviously, Westbrook and Durant, their upside is, or their floor, I should say, increases if one or the other's out. We have them both healthy right now, but we kind of just saw with the Lakers game that they can still both dominate and have a super high floor here. So I like Durant. I love Westbrook in tournaments, obviously with his triple double upside, especially in this game. I probably won't go him in cash just because his price. Well, he's 10-7 on DK. They actually put him down.
Yeah.
10-9 on
Right.
FanDuel.
Yeah.
Yeah, so not bad, but I think he's definitely still makes for more of a tournament play, so you can kind of avoid the blowout factor a little bit here.
Right.
And then, I think Cantor for sure should get some tournament
I'm off of
exposure here.
Baca. No, I'm done with him for that. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
He could go off. I mean,
I think
I
he's a
just
tournament play, but not really like
8 fantasy points versus the freaking Lakers. Are you kidding me?
yeah, he's
I
been
didn't
like
even
that a
play
lot.
him, and I'm still. I mean, I
Right.
imagine the tilt factor something like
Oh,
that.
ooh, yeah. If you had a lot of shares of him against the Lakers, which wasn't a bad play at all, and you get
7
that out
points,
of
1
him,
rebound, no blocks. What a donk! What a
yeah,
terrible.
that's a horribly donkey line for sure.
Game before that versus Memphis, 13 fantasy points versus Portland, 22.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
he's had a
So
couple good games, but I just
he'll definitely be lowly owned. So I think you can have a few shares if you're going that route, but it's not definitely not one of our
he's
favorite
been
tournament
sucking, so he'll be low owned. It's a classic spot.
Right. Yeah. Did you, speaking of the Thunder, you watched your boy Lillard just destroy them the other
Oh, Lillard is my man.
Yeah,
I wish I
that
could take
was
my principal. He spits hot fire, man. Shooting and his raps.
yeah, oh
You know
my
his freestyles.
oh yeah, he's actually really good. Like
He's
yeah, I
really
listened
good.
to like
Do
all of
yourself
his
a
stuff.
favor if you haven't already. Definitely hit up
Yeah, check
you.
out Dame on the mic and be surprised. He's good.
He's
Yeah, that was
good.
probably like one of the top 3 moments of the season was just watching him rain those threes.
Oh yeah, he's the
Like
man.
yeah, I'd say top 3 probably.
Yeah, he's great. So
Yeah.
on Minnesota's side, I think Rubio is always intriguing. Westbrook just goes all out on offense, and I mean he's an intimidating defender, but
Right.
sometimes he's kind of he can
No,
throw a
yeah,
lot
for
of
sure.
steals and he can lead that pace. And Rubio, especially in
Yeah.
DraftKings, that triple double is always lurking.
No, I agree. OKC is not like a lockdown team. They're not a team that doesn't give up any points. They don't play at a slow pace. So there's definitely still points to be had here for Minnesota. And in that
Right.
chance that they do score points and keep it close enough for these starters to play the fourth, yeah, you're looking at Rubio as kind of the guy. And you're right, Westbrook turns the ball over a ton. So Rubio has steal upside along with slight triple double upside as he usually does. So
Right.
he's a guy I think you can look at. And then I mean, it's tough with the rest of this team with Pekovic back. You got Jang, you got Towns. I mean, they got Kmart in the rotation now. Levine's kind of
I'm
falling
not
off
playing
the
anyone
team.
else.
So Bielitsa's back. Shabazz is in the mix. Like,
Shabazz has been playing.
you're right. They played 13 guys last game, so it's kind of
They have no
hard.
incentive not to do that stuff.
Yeah. So
Can't.
yeah. Right. So it's hard. So yeah, I think you kind of want to be limited in your shares
Could
here.
play Shabazz in the tournament,
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think he
playing minutes.
warrants some upside. He played 28 minutes last game. He can do some damage in 28 minutes for
Yeah,
sure.
no one
Especially,
will have Shabazz either.
right. Especially against the Thunder's second unit, which is
Right, that's what I'm saying. If it's a
yeah.
blowout, him in the second unit, and you could look to like Deion Waiters or something like that too in that scenario.
Right. Yeah. Waiter. Yeah. Waiter's just a guy I will personally never play again. It's on the Tyson Chandler level.
Oh man, that's brutal.
Just bust after bust. Yeah. So Rubio definitely, I think, is the most intriguing guy here. And Wiggins, I don't love with Robertson being a good defender there. So I'm not too high on him. And kind of a tougher matchup, obviously, for Towns. And that's even assuming he gets heavy minutes, which you can't assume.
Let's move to the next game because I think we're done here. Let's go to Oklahoma City. Or I'm sorry, let's go to the next game on the slate, not Oklahoma City. Cleveland at Dallas, which this is where Swaggy P shot of the night.
Oh, all right.
We have Cleveland 6-point favorites and a 198.5 over under.
All right. So injuries, there are none, unfortunately, because I like to kind of find value on these two teams due to injuries, specifically the Mavs side. So let's start with the Cavs. So LeBron's been playing a lot better this month, for sure. I think the outside shooting or outside the paint shooting percentage where LeBron was the worst, even worse than Kobe. I think that's kind of done with. He's shooting, what's he shooting this month? 58.8%. So from the field. So he's kind of feeling it right now, and has a very safe floor, I think, especially in this game. I always prefer playing LeBron on the road. I don't know about you. Just kind of a more secure,
goes out, gets more
safe,
less blowouts,
safer minutes. Yeah, and usually so. I think he's a guy you can obviously definitely look at here. What about Kyrie? What do you do with Kyrie at this point? With I mean, he's getting up a lot of shots and he's scoring a lot of points lately. Is he kind of
he's definitely in play as a tournament play only, obviously. You can't never trust him in cash, but
right?
trying to, trickle into that, low 30s, potentially mid 30s in minutes. And,
right.
He's solid.
Yeah, he gets 32 minutes in this game, and I think he can have a pretty big line. I'd lean him more on DraftKings where he's 7K.
Dude,
Still kind
remember
of
he put up 50 real life points against the Spurs last year.
That was awesome. Yeah, no, I love
That's so hard to do.
Right. It'll never happen this year though, if they meet in the finals.
I know
but yeah,
you're yelling on the Spurs.
And then, I think you can definitely look at Kevin Love for a little bit of tournament exposure in this one. He's kind of played well as of late as well. So I kind of like this spot for the Cavs overall. What about Tristan Thompson? So kind of frustrating. He's kind of like in that no play zone for me at this point because we just saw him about 37 minutes and he barely got a double-double, and that was
against Philly.
Yeah, and that's a lot of minutes for Tristan to barely get a double-double. And this is a guy doesn't get blocks, doesn't get steals, so you're banking on him getting a double-double to even meet value. And then the upside is not that big, really. And Mozgov's not even playing, so it's kind of just it's crowded there, and Love obviously consumes a bit of the front court, of course, and Love in the post offensively. So Tristan's a guy I think that I'm kind of off now that his price increased a little bit and his role is kind of a bit more solidified here in terms of kind of like pick and roll.
I'm fading him. I'm done. Kevin Love is interesting here. I think he's the guy I'd rather play for Cleveland. Definitely has some potential for some big numbers, been putting up big numbers recently. I like the way he's, playing in this offense now. I think they really kind of figured out a role for him overall. So I'm pretty happy with how he's playing, and I think he's a good play. Who do you like on Dallas' side?
I don't like anyone on Dallas' side for cash, for sure. Not for cash. I don't like targeting Dallas when they're 100% healthy, and they are right now. So you have a lot of guys playing minutes, a lot of bodies. I can't really count on I'm thinking of all the times I've played Dallas players, and usually it's point guard because due to multiple injuries.
Felton, Barea.
I'll never play Barea, but other people play him in cash. Oh, they're donkeys. And we have Darren.
Wait, you didn't play Barea once during that whole stretch?
No way.
Oh my God, dude, he went ham a couple. Yeah, how did you not play him?
I went against him against that one dude in a bunch of games, and
my gosh,
when Barea hit
41 minutes, 53 fantasy points.
Yeah, that was the worst night of my life.
Next night after that, you faded him 38 fantasy points. Come on.
I might have played him once actually.
Yeah, you had to. There was that stretch there. Where
there was the one game where I played him. But I didn't play him. Yeah, but people kept playing him even when
he's still being played.
Yeah, I know, right? For some reason, people love Barea.
Oh yeah, I mean, some other good videos of watching Barea dunk. But, my swaggy P of the night in honor of Mark Cuban.
Whoa,
Mark Cuban, obviously now part of Fantasy Labs, which is awesome. Some great news for us. Going Dirk, dude, he's been on fire. And against LeBron, he's gonna get up in this game in Dallas. Look at his game. Last 4 games, all over 20 real life points.
No, he's taking
34, 36, 43. He's only 6,300 on DraftKings.
Yeah, that's you look at our model, the fan model and whatnot. Whatever you look at, whatever model, he'll be a great value there for sure because he's underpriced. I love that swaggy P shot.
Yeah. Of course. Honor of Mark too. It's perfect.
Everything is lined up perfectly, and they got the Cavs at home. Yeah, so Dirk. Yeah, Parsons was a guy. Obviously, we all kind of rode pretty hard early on when when he was dirt cheap and his minutes limit disappeared. But now with everybody kind of healthy and back and his minutes up, he's not a guy, especially in this game, that I'm looking at too hard here.
Yeah, you know Ashley obviously, and when Ashley ever plays DFS, she thinks she's made like 3 lineups in like 4 years or something.
Does
Like
she
that.
always play Mike Miller?
No, she does love Mike Miller, but
Yeah,
her
yeah.
lock every time is Chandler Parsons.
Oh, of
She
course.
loves
Yeah.
Chandler Parsons.
Oh man. Well, yeah, those are sneaky lineups because he's had some solid games. So
Yeah, yeah.
she probably ran pretty hot there.
She has run hot once before. She was bragging about it for weeks,
Oh
though she
man.
didn't cash. She played a tournament and her lineup would have cashed in 50. It was above average, but she beat some names she knows and
Yeah,
bragging about it.
that's all that matters. Yeah.
I mean, she lit money on fire, but it is
Right. No, it is what it is. Yeah. Well, good thing you're there to kind of balance the weight out in that relationship DFS wise.
hopefully.
Right.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. Hopefully.
We'll see. Let's go to this New Orleans Lakers game. No line on this anywhere. Got Anthony
Right.
Davis, who I freaking love to play, and then love to get heartbroken by. It's just so fun. Just
I mean, I took that
falling
night.
on him multiple times, just gets crushed. And I mean, everyone's been there, so no one wants to hear me personally complain. But
Right. I took that night off, thankfully, but I probably would have
I
gone.
play him every night, dude. I just
Yeah, I do too, man. I really do. Every time I convince myself, like, don't look at they're all random injuries. Like, they're not things that linger or anything. But the fact is, he's just very fragile. I actually called it on our last pod that he was going to get injured.
It's because his body. The one thing I think is true. He's still really young. That people don't think about how young he actually is, and his body grew so fast, so late that he's
Oh,
still
for sure.
But I think that has a lot to do with the injury.
And he's he takes chances. He's like a point guard in a big body. You know, he has
Right.
great ball handling, but there's no doubt he's very fragile. So obviously we'll get to the injuries in this game, and Anthony Davis has a permanent spot injury report, whether he's
100%
listed on it or
healthy.
not. Yeah, like he doesn't need to be listed for us to probably just call him questionable, but he is listed as questionable, and he definitely this injury news plays a big, huge role in kind of the whole night. So, I mean, this is the only late game of the night that we have. So that's 8:30 Eastern. So, I mean, I think you look at this game kind of, and it revolves around Anthony Davis, at least on the Pelicans side, with Ryan Anderson obviously playing huge minutes going against the Lakers. I love him. If you think Anthony Davis,
Oh yeah, he's a lock.
doubtful, but I don't think we'll have the news by lineup block really on Anthony
He's
Davis.
going to be on DraftKings waiting for that late swap.
Right. And I think this is a wise spot to kind of on DraftKings save space or put Ryan Anderson in your cash lineup possibly.
Speaking of which, how often does it happen where you just continue? You're always waiting for the late swap, and then you just late swap yourself into death.
It
Seems
happens
to happen way too
It
often.
probably happens more often than like it works out, where it's like, yeah, Anthony Davis ruled out. I always get the worst side of that. I get Chalmers in the late swap spot. Conley ends up playing. Like,
Then you're checking the news and you forget to swap.
right. Oh, yeah. That was pretty funny. That was probably tilting for my opponents when I swept that night with Chalmers, with Conley.
That is dominant.
Yeah, but so Pelicans side, obviously they're playing the Lakers. And the reason there's no line here is because Anthony Davis is questionable. So two worst teams in the West get to battle it out in prime time, only late spot night. I'm going to be glued to the TV for this game. I can't wait.
Everyone will be just sweating their DFS lineups.
Right.
Anthony Davis.
Yeah, you'll have like entire teams done.
He's going to be confirmed in for 9 minutes in, and then everyone's going to go ham on Twitter.
So let's talk about some other plays for the Pelicans. Tyreek has looked great since he's been back.
I like me some Tyreek.
I mean, I think he's a cash game play. I think. What about Drew? Drew played 36 minutes off the bench last game. Had a huge game. I know it
I
was
didn't see that Drew played that many minutes.
Yeah, it went to overtime, but he played I think 35 the game before, so he's getting minutes here, and he's looking good. And this is the Lakers, obviously.
From LA too, dude. A little narrative. I'm loving the Drew.
That's true, man. Yeah, so
might get a little amped up here.
Yeah. What's he at on DK?
Legend growing up too. He was so good when he was young.
I love Drew. I don't know why they don't start him. I mean, I'm of the opinion that Tyreek is not a great basketball player, I think Drew
55 fantasy
way
points.
better.
The Clippers. That's impressive.
Yeah, yeah, man. I mean, he torched Austin Rivers, I think there. So, but yeah, I
Well,
like
he's
Drew a
going to be
lot,
facing some pretty tough opponents in the
right?
Lakers, backcourt here.
Yeah, exactly. So I like
Lou
him.
Williams.
I probably lean him. I don't know what he's 6K on DK. I think he's pretty safe here though.
Oh yeah, dude. The game. This is the game stack, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
this
you
is
have
the game.
two terrible defenses.
The
Hit
worst two defenses, yeah. So,
Yeah.
and then Ryan Anderson, I think, is a guy that's a lock for cash if we have news that Anthony Davis is leaning doubtful or ruled out, or if you want to kind of risk it on DK,
Yeah.
and if he is a game time decision and you kind of wait. But the problem is, I mean,
How is Anthony Davis? I thought he was potentially going to play last game, and then now, I mean, it's a back contusion. Like, come on.
yeah, right, back contusion. Yeah, so I mean, he's
Back bruise is going to keep him out for multiple games. I mean, come on.
I know, it's horrible. So hopefully we have news on that. So let's say Anthony Davis shoot around, whatever morning comes around, he looks good, and they rule him in. Do you have how much exposure do you have?
I mean, I go all in and get absolutely crushed
the
again.
Lakers. Yeah, it's just kind of it's the process we always stress here. So
I mean, yeah, it's just
So
insanity is the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again.
It is.
It
drives you insane.
And I am going to be insane with Anthony Davis.
Right. Yeah, I'm hoping he's out so I can get a piece. I can go Tyreek and Ryan Anderson and have shares of Drew as well. It's kind of who I'm targeting in this game.
Tyreek should go ham in this game.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I like Tyreek quite a bit. What about on the Lakers? I mean, Kobe, I don't know.
I'll do the injuries real quick. So we have D'Angelo Russell with a sprained left ankle. He's probable, so we can expect him to play. Brandon Bass sat out last game, which allowed Larry Nance to have a big game. So he's probable as well with a right eye corneal abrasion. So we're expecting him back, which kind of limits that upside that we saw with Nance. So I don't think you want to consider him and chase points with Nance based off his last game, assuming Bass is back for this one. And then Julius Randle had a bone bruise in his foot. He kind of left the game last game, but he came back. He's listed as probable as well. We can expect him to play. Finally, Kobe is actually questionable with a right Achilles strain. So this being the late game, Byron kind of being the way he is with injuries, Kobe kind of just getting juiced up, so to speak, before games. This sounds like a game time decision written all over it.
Yeah, and one thing to be mindful of too, Kobe's playing every game on the road for the farewell tour and for everyone else sitting at home.
Right. So I think this is tough. I think, yeah. So, and the guys I like the most when Kobe's out are usually Jordan Clarkson and Lou Williams. I think definitely have a lot of upside with Kobe sitting here. So those are two guys I'm looking at pretty strongly because the Pelicans are equally as bad at defense as the Lakers.
Oh yeah, no, it's a really nice spot.
So yeah, I think Lou and Clarkson you can look at strongly in both formats.
Didn't Reggie Miller say Larry Nance has more potential than Julius Randle? He's been putting up some fantasy points.
I know.
Price has come up though.
And Byron loves him too.
Dude, I like Larry Nance too. Reggie Miller though is just going.
I don't know, man. Reggie Miller and Byron Scott are both donks, so something that they agree on, I'm probably against.
That's so funny.
And yeah, and Nance. I mean, last game he obviously did really well with Brandon Bass out. Yeah, I mean, I think you can have shares. I personally won't, but it's not a bad play to have shares of Nance in this game. This is the game of the night. For sure.
Oh yeah,
so,
pretty excited for the slate, dude.
Yeah, this is a good slate. So if Kobe's out, we can expect Anthony Brown to draw that start again. That ends up being pretty meaningless there, and really only affects the guys we want to target with Lou and Clarkson. Lou probably more so, I think, has been a bit more consistent and kind of cash game playable out there. And then two guys off the bench, D'Angelo with the sprained left ankle, Randall with the bone bruise, both probable. I think you can have some exposure to them kind of off the bench. Especially I think D'Angelo makes for a sneaky play here, kind of going against the second unit of the Pelicans, which is obviously pretty nice.
Definitely. No, I agree with all that. I think that those are the plays that you want exposure to. If Kobe, we do get word that he does play, I'll definitely have some tournament exposure to him.
I was going to say, I almost
just jack shots, so it's like
I almost
As
want
soon as he hits one, he's like, "Oh, I'm feeling it tonight."
right. I mean, when Kobe plays, yeah, we can pencil him in for like 28 to 31 minutes, but he's going to take 20 shots. So
It's perfect.
he was my backup swaggy P shot of the night was Kobe. Not only because
You should have had Kobe and Dirk, but your Boban love is just way too strong.
it's out of control, but for good reason, obviously.
Hey, do you just want to like cuddle up with Boban? Just like
I don't. I want to go to his.
you
cave.
did eaten alive, dude. You'd be smaller than his hand.
What would you do if you went around? I mean, I'd play dumb, of course. I'd pretend to be dead already because I think he likes eating people alive more than dead. So it's kind of like that animal trait where you want to play awesome.
Just play dead.
And like hope he doesn't see you because you're way down from it.
Yeah, I mean, you are way out of his field of vision.
So, but like I definitely
even standing up, he probably wouldn't notice.
I want to check out his cave for sure. I think would be really cool.
All right.
Injury for Pelicans. Quincy Pondexter's out for the season today. So, so much for him returning. That was not going to happen. So, yeah. So I think Kobe though really like super sneaky tournament. He's questionable. Like say on FanDuel, nobody's going to go. No one's going to go. He's questionable.
People are still idiots.
I don't know. You can probably assume really that he's probably going to sit.
He's probably going to sit. That's why I'm saying.
But like for tournaments, you think there's any value? Like,
I mean, he's just not like. There's names I'd like to do that more with, like in certain situations. You know, he's top of the list for spots like that.
Let's see. He's 7K, and you're getting not like that much upside out of him, even if he plays. So yeah, that's tough. My swaggy P shot of the night remains Boban.
All right, Boban, and I got Dirk, so hopefully
let's see.
Comes through.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. And yeah, that wraps it up. This is a good slate. The last like 7 pods I've done, I feel like have been at least 10 or 11 game slates. So I'm really excited for this Tuesday 8-game slate. We never have these 8-game slates on Tuesdays.
It's going to be great, man. Looking forward to it, Jay. That was fun doing
awesome. Dude. All right, yeah, cool. So I will be back on the pod with you guys tomorrow, Tuesday night. I don't even know with who else is doing it yet. Maybe Brian will be back. I think Jordan Hill will be on that slate, so he won't be too happy about that. But we'll definitely have a pod out for you guys breaking down the Wednesday slate tomorrow. So we'll see you then, and good luck on this Tuesday 8-game slate.